MCAT 2017 Cram, Critical Analysis and Reasoning Skills, Flashcard Set 11.1, The Human Footprint in Mexico. The questions that follow this passage are foundations of comprehension questions that will require you to either recognize an accurate paraphrase or summary of the central theme, interpret word choices made by the author, or recognize an accurate paraphrase of particular statements made in the passage. Okay, so good luck and happy reading. Paragraph 1. Ecological patterns and processes are influenced by human activities in two main ways: directly by the transformation of land into infrastructure and productive areas, or indirectly through the byproducts of human activities that might disperse away from their causal source and degrade ecosystem functions. Direct modifications of the land through human infrastructure, that's human settlements, transportation pathways, and power lines, and productive areas such as agriculture, aquaculture, forestry, and cattle ranching have increased globally during the last century as a result of accelerated human population growth. Paragraph 2. Several studies have analyzed the patterns of direct human modification of the land surface as a proxy measure of human influence on natural ecosystems. Although human modification indices do not convey the entire effect, the entire human effect expressed as changes historically accumulated over natural ecosystems, they are useful to infer the spatial pattern and extent of the capacity of humans to transform the earth through land use. Many studies analyze how diverse ecological regions have different capacity to respond to landscape transformations, but only a few of them analyze how the physical geography, defined, for example, as biomes or ecoregions, affects spatial patterns of human modification. Paragraph 3. Mexico is an ecologically heterogeneous country that hosts a diverse array of ecosystems ranging from hyper-arid deserts to tropical rainforests, which have evolved as a consequence of the country's complex topography. Mexico is also one of the biologically megadiverse countries of the world with high endemism. That's the ecological state of a species being unique to a defined geographic location for birds, mammals, and reptiles. In principle, it would be expected that human developments and land transformations in Mexico follow the country's complex environmental mosaic, with regions where environmental conditions are more favorable for human settlement and occupation, given a particular level of technological development, showing a larger human footprint. Paragraph 4. But land settlements and landscape transformations are not only the result of physical geography. There are also technological and historical components. The historic dimension is especially relevant in countries such as Mexico, with a long history of human occupation and well-documented civilization classes. Indeed, despite the common misconception that Europeans found a new world that was largely unoccupied and wild, what Spaniards found in Mexico was a densely populated territory with well-developed agricultural settlements and large urban centers that heavily impacted their respective hinterlands. Hinterlands meaning the often uncharted areas of a region. When Europeans arrived to Mesoamerica, the population of the larger territory of what we now call Mexico was in the order of tens of millions of people. Although the native population was devastated by European diseases, the Encomienda, a grant by the Spaniard crown to a colonist in America conferring the right to demand tribute and forced labor from the Indian inhabitants of an area. That seems kind of silly. This is just a definition in brackets. It's not a part of the original text. System and 16th century droughts, its geographical distribution at the time of Spanish conquest, conditioned the subsequent land occupation and landscape transformations. Paragraph 5. The ability of humans to transform the face of the earth has been referred to as the human footprint. The Human Footprint Index, HF, is calculated by adding all major scale anthropogenic transformations over the land surface. It uses 4 variables to summarize the effects of human modifications, population density, land use change, access areas, and electric infrastructure. This index has been used and modified at different scales, but always following the main idea that the intensity of human influence is a result of the type of activity that the area that each activity occupies and the accumulation of activities within large areas. Its values distributed on a map reveal the major patterns of human influence over the broad landscape. The advantages of the Human Footprint Index, or HF Index, lie in the fact that it uses publicly available geographic data for the majority of countries, and hence it is easily reproducible by different researchers in different regions, and its calculations are statistically simple with an explicative clarity that can easily be understood. Ah. The author mentions Mexico's history of human occupation and well-documented civilization collapses in paragraph 4, most likely in order to A. Emphasize an important factor in Mexico's landscape transformation, B. Criticize previous studies for failing to take note of Mexico's historical legacy, C. Introduce a completely new theory for human development in Mexico, or D. Explain how patterns of human development are often the result of oppression. Definitely press pause if you need to, and I'll give you a moment to think. You may want to open up a second window in order to find the tech support in paragraph 4 to better select the correct answer choice. Okay? All right. In this question, you need to interpret the word choices made by the author. In paragraph 3, the author theorizes that it would be expected that, quote, human developments and land transformations in Mexico follow the country's complex environmental mosaic. The author then goes on to challenge that expectation in the following paragraph with the sentence, quote, but land settlements and landscape transformations are not only the result of physical geography, they are also technological and historical components. Thus, the purpose of mentioning Mexico's history of colonization and civilization history is to underscore the historical components that also drive land settlement and landscape transformations. Okay, so the purpose is not to introduce, a completely new theory, okay? This just doesn't make sense. As well as, yeah, it's not criticizing. So answer choice C and B are out, all right? Because it's like I said before, it's not to criticize previous studies, and it's not to introduce entirely different theories of landscape transformations. The author is merely introducing another factor to be considered in addition to geographical considerations. And last, the passage never suggests that there is a causal relationship between human oppression and human development, nor is that the main focus of this historical analysis. All right? Okay. So the correct answer, in short, is answer choice A. Emphasize an important factor in Mexico's landscape transformation. Which of the following statements is most supported by the passage? A. Land transformation and human settlement greatly degrades environmental ecosystems. B. The Human Footprint Index is a proxy measure of indirect human activity. C. Mexico's history prior to European colonization greatly shaped its landscape transformation. Or D. Direct human activity degrades ecosystems more than indirect human activity. All right? So definitely press pause if you need to, and I'll give you a moment to think. If you're having difficulty answering, you may want to open up a second window to view the reading of the passage and search for the text support to select the correct answer choice. All right. Okay, so while the passage does mention environmental um, degradation, okay, in paragraph 1, it mentions it in relation to byproducts of human activities. It does not directly make the link between land transformation and human settlement, okay, and degradation. So I think answer choice A is out. The Human Footprint Index, let's see, it's defined in paragraph 5 and includes measures of population density, land use change, access areas, and electric infrastructures, which relate to direct modifications of the land and not indirect byproducts. So answer choice B is also wrong. The passage discusses in paragraph 3 the historic dimension is especially relevant in Mexico, suggesting that locations of earlier settlement shaped its landscape transformations. Okay, so this seems like a right fit, answer choice C. But finally, the passage distinguishes between direct and indirect human activity in paragraph 1, but doesn't say anything about the relative impact of each on the environment, whether one is more than the other. So answer choice C is wrong. The only answer choice that fits is answer choice D is wrong. The only answer choice that fits is answer choice C. Mexico's history prior to European colonization greatly shaped its landscape transformation. Okay, so this is the right answer choice for this particular question. of human development on physical geography. His main point is that the reverse is also true and overlooked, namely that physical geography impacts human development, okay, which is what answer choice 1 is basically expressing. In addition, the author discusses the importance of history in paragraph 4, such as colonization and pre-Hispanic settlements in Mexico, okay, in determining the trajectory of human development. While the author does not seem to view the human footprint as a fairly important measure of landscape transformation, this is discussed in paragraph 5, it clearly is not a subjective measure, okay? It's quite objective. Since the author discusses how it is based upon publicly available data for objectively observable factors like population density. So answer choice 3 is out. It's not subjective, it's rather objective. And while the author mentions national history in paragraph 4, the author never explicitly criticizes other scientists for failing to take such a variable into consideration, and the passage never claims that ecological diversity is not studied enough. All right? In fact, in paragraph 1, it says that many former studies have studied the impact of human development on ecological systems. So with all this said, the correct answer choice is answer choice A. Physical geography as well as historical factors may greatly impact human development. All right, okay.